and welcome to Just Us Thinking, the Wine Talk After Show.
Hey, everybody.
So, we just finished the wine talk.
We did.
Nice wine.
Nice wine. And
Now we switch over to the other kind of wine, right?
yep, the vocal whining.
The vocal whining. So, basically, it's going to be cancel culture.
That is correct.
All right. So, what do you think about the cancel culture?
It's hard to say. I kind of understand on one hand how some people can get offended by some things that are said. But on the other hand, I've also seen where it's maybe a little bit over exaggerated, maybe.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see it. I think social media makes it worse.
It does, yeah. I mean, everything's out there on Facebook, Twitter, all
Yeah.
those other stuff, and I think it's got kind of out of hand.
Right. So, cancel culture's been around for a while.
Yeah, it's always been around.
Yeah. So, Aunt Jemima was, one of the culprits, right?
I believe so, yep.
Aunt Jemima, who's now Pearl Milling Company.
That is correct, yep.
Now there's a picture floating around that's a fake photo of her chained to the desk that
Yeah.
she's at.
Yeah, see, I think that's just a little overdone.
And that's a artist's rendition of what he feels that was. So Aunt Jemima was, they saying that she has a mammy, or, from Jim Crow laws, kind of made her look derogatory is what the claim is.
I think it, represented, everybody's grandma, it just kind of, that's what it made me think of, when I saw it was my grandma.
Yeah, and I would think that, we want diversity, so why not have a black person on a syrup bottle?
Right. I think that their family should be proud of that, and why take it down? That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I think the last one to portray her was Nancy Green.
I think that's right, yeah.
I think they claim the way they dress her, it just came out wrong.
I think it looked like your typical grandmother from that era.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
So, sad.
Very sad. I hated to see her go, because, I mean, she was such a prominent figure. I'm sure she did a lot of stuff for the company.
Yeah.
But as a spokesperson, I mean, so if you don't like tigers, do you get kicked, Tony off the Frosted Flakes?
I hope they don't cancel Tony the Tiger.
Oh, what about the frog from, what does a frog do?
The Budweiser frog?
No, the Smacks.
Oh, the cereal.
Yeah, it's a cereal frog.
Yeah, I can't remember which one.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. I know they did that with cigarettes. Camel got rid of Joe Cool Camel. He was too cool for kids, so he encouraged kids to smoke.
Yeah.
Now, I guess that's the only difference is when you have a cartoon character, which is generally appeasing to kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. But at the same time, there's a lot of adult cartoons that are not for kids. So, I don't know. It's kind of a tough subject.
It's a very tough subject, and it's kind of crazy how it's gotten.
Yeah, it's so Aunt Jemima was the the mammy thing, so it was more claiming to be racist.
Yeah, I just don't see how that was racist.
I kind of don't either, but now with Land O'Lakes, they kept the land, kept the lakes, moved on the Native American. So let's remove the Indian.
Yeah, that's crazy too.
I mean, Trail of Tears Part 2. I mean, that's really what it is. Let's take her off. We don't want her on there. We'll just keep everything else. And the Trail of Tears was a horrible thing that happened to the Native Americans.
Yeah, it was a pretty bad thing.
Basically moved them off of what they called home into a reservation. And a lot of these, we didn't understand that there was different tribes or anything like that. We didn't care. So we just put them all in one spot. A lot of those tribes feuded with each other all the time. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's a sad, sad world.
That is. I think we had a local establishment close here too.
Yeah, we did. Leavenworth Cafe back in 2020. 2020 or 2021.
Okay, that was the height of the Black Lives Matter movement, right?
Yeah, I think it was June of 2020.
Okay, so that got canceled because the owner said something stupid. He he just said something stupid, or his family said something stupid. I can't remember which.
And
It
who
doesn't really
doesn't
matter.
say something stupid?
Yeah, we all say something stupid. I mean,
We've all done it.
expect when we are younger, we do a lot of stupid things.
We do, yeah.
So he said something stupid, and then they had to get a security guard.
Yeah, the security guard, I guess the employees felt unsafe coming to and from work, and then of course the customers didn't feel safe either, so
So they eventually said, for everybody's safety, we're just going to shut down.
yeah, and that's really sad because that place was, a local restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, they had good food. It was a breakfast, lunch thing.
Yeah, and whenever you went in there, it was always busy.
Yeah, and there was always a wait, so you had to wait to get to your table.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I don't understand why the protests decided to shut him down without even. I mean, no one even asked for an apology.
They didn't?
I don't think so. I don't remember hearing an apology, and I'll be honest, I don't think anybody was listening either.
At that time, they probably weren't.
See, and that's where I remember working security in Kansas City. So I was working Kansas City. I was kind of walking around the grocery store, and there was a couple checkers that are a couple cashiers up there, and one of the ladies I saw come in, and she had white gloves on. I remember the white gloves, and she held her hands up and kind of shook them, and said, "White hands, white hands." And I didn't quite understand what was going on, and then I saw the cashiers switch places, and the one cashier switched with the other one and checked her out, and then she left. And after she left, I went up to the manager and I said, did I miss something? Was there something that happened? And he said, well, yeah, she doesn't let anybody who's black, or she'll only let white people wait on her. And I thought that was kind of crazy.
Wow.
So I went and I asked the cashier, at that point I'm like, well, I didn't know what was going on. So I went and I talked to the cashier and said, hey, are you okay? And she goes, oh yeah, she comes in all the time. And I said, that doesn't bother you? And she goes, why, I'm not going to let it bother me. It's not going to bother me at all. She's an old white lady, and she's not going to be around much longer, and nothing I can do is going to change her mind.
That's a pretty good attitude to have. I mean, it's better than being bitter about it, I guess.
Well, yeah, and I mean, that's what really stood out to me in that scenario is, wow, that if more people just kind of took it that way and not, to me, she took all that power away from that racist.
She did.
And she took it, and I was very, very happy. She was a really nice lady. The cashier was really, really sweet to me all the time. I remember we had so many good laughs and jokes in there. She was a great lady, and her attitude makes a big difference.
Your attitude makes a really big difference. I mean, especially, because that wasn't too long ago. I mean, I know it's been a while, but...
Well, that's, we're talking 15, 20 plus years ago.
Yeah, so even back then, I mean, that's a pretty good attitude to have.
Well, yeah, I agree, and I commend that person for having that attitude.
Yeah, because you probably wouldn't see that attitude anymore.
And that's a shame. That's a real shame.
Yeah.
To me, if you hear someone that's making a racist remark or a homophobic remark or basically a negative comment, they have every right to say what they could say. I mean, it's freedom of speech, but I don't have to listen to them. I don't.
That's true.
And nobody else does either. So if, I guess if I put myself in that situation and someone said, hey, and they said something that was very negative, I would just simply walk away.
I probably would too, but I'd probably be a little bit more offended if I was in those shoes. But I mean, I guess you never really know until you're actually in that position to know how someone would feel.
Right. And I get that. So it's kind of, I hope people would take the high ground.
Yeah.
But that doesn't always happen. I mean, look at Roseanne Barr.
Yeah.
So many people could have taken the high road there. She's a comedian. She's going to say very edgy stuff.
And she's known to be pretty raunchy anyway, so.
Yeah. I think she threw out a pitch and grabbed her crotch or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Look at who you're talking to. I mean, so people didn't look at that and say, well, yeah, that was Roseanne Barr. She says stupid things. It was a bad joke.
Yeah, I think she made a comment about one of Obama's advisors back in like 2018, and everybody got offended. And I think that was around the time that she was getting ready to start a new show, and she was basically kicked off that show.
No, they already launched the new show, The New Roseanne, and they changed it. They kicked her off and changed it to The Connors.
Right.
So, yeah, they already recorded her, and they wrote her off. And I'm like, did it... I'm torn whether they should have removed her, or I would have said, hey, you said something stupid, apologize, and move on.
Yeah.
And if she wasn't going to apologize, then, yeah, take action. She claimed she was on medication or something like that, too, didn't she?
I think so.
Yeah, I took a pill, and a pill that made me racist, I guess. I don't know. I didn't know those pills existed.
I didn't either.
I will make sure I never take one of those.
Me neither.
Yeah, those are bad pills for anybody.
Bad pills.
So, but Paula Deen went through it too.
She did, actually. Yeah, her and one of her store managers, or restaurant manager, sorry. She got a little beef with Paula and her brother, and spilled some dirt on her from way back in the day.
So before you get into a fight with anybody you work with, make sure they don't know about any of your skeletons.
Exactly.
They'll come out.
They will.
In a heartbeat. Yeah. Hey, yeah, I got skeletons, so I would have paid her hush money.
That's probably a good idea.
I would have pulled a Trump.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, well, Trump did the same thing. He said something. He grabbed a woman by the naughty bits and said, "That's how you grab women." So I'm sure he doesn't know how to grab a woman.
He probably doesn't.
He gets women because he has money.
Right.
But he's in a locker room. Mm-hmm. What do you expect a guy to say in the locker room?
Yeah. Guys say stupid stuff in locker rooms all the time. Women do it too.
Oh, do you? Do you?
Probably. There's probably locker talk.
Locker talk. Locker talk. So what happens in the locker room stays in the locker room?
Exactly.
That's where it should have happened. So,
yeah.
But yeah, so she had, and it was a racial remark that her and her family made. She apologized for it.
Yeah, and I think she was trying to go back onto, her growing up in the 60s, how it was a different era.
It was the 60s till now are quite a bit different. I will tell you the 80s till now is quite a bit different.
It is, yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of crazy. So Paula Deen, she went through it. Now J.K. Rowling's is the next victim of this, right?
Yep.
Now that's over trans, right?
Yeah, she tweeted something in support of someone she knew. Basically, that person lost their job, and JK tweeted in her favor, and then she was canceled, I guess.
I just don't think, if you say something stupid, or your opinion, even if your opinion's stupid, I don't think canceling is the way to go.
Yeah, and I don't know if what she said was really bad, but she was just supporting the person, which isn't if they're supporting them, they're not trying to bring them down.
Well, and that gets me in the debate of celebrities endorsing politicians.
Yeah.
I disagree with that because I don't want someone that has 15 million followers say, hey, go vote for Joe Schmo because I like him. And then you have 15 million people voting for someone that have no idea what the issues are or what the platform is.
Yeah. Or saying go vote for Jolene Schmo because she's a woman and she would be great.
Right.
You shouldn't vote someone just because they're a woman.
Right. You should never vote for someone just because of the color of their skin or whether they're a man or woman or anything. Because if that's the case, then whoever the next Hispanic person is that runs, we should just elect him because we haven't checked that box yet.
Yeah.
which I don't agree with. I don't agree with that at all
either. No.
So yeah, that's kind of crazy. So yeah, the trans is a whole hot issue too.
It is,
Budweiser's
yeah.
going through their issues. I heard their sales are down.
Yeah.
I'm not a beer drinker. We've talked about that already.
Yeah.
But I guess I don't see the big problem with it. So the only issue is when someone takes that position and other people, it's a hard issue. You have the right and the left that are pushing both issues, and there's a lot of people that are saying, well, trans, it's all about the science. People are losing the people aspect of it.
Right.
I think that's where the problem lies. I still think we are parent one right, parent two left, and they're so far apart. It's ridiculous, and all his kids are orphaned in the middle.
Yep. Just go run away.
Yeah, and they treat us like a puppy dog and say, "Come here, boy, come here, boy." And I'm sorry, but we really don't want to go either way.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, right leaning or left leaning, but there's still room in the middle. We don't have to be so extreme, do we?
I don't think so. No, it'd be nice to go more in the middle.
Right. Now, and I watch a lot of the audit videos.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the audit videos.
I like listening into them with you. They get kind of a little out of hand sometimes, but it's still fun to listen to them.
Well, and the issue I have is a lot of times the auditor, they jump right up to that line. I mean, they don't cross the line, but man, they get really close.
They dance on it pretty good.
Yeah, they dance the jig. They're really good. They really, and they antagonize a police officer. That's the plan.
Which one of them don't antagonize the police officers?
Right. So if you're taking video, it's perfectly legal. What they're doing is perfectly legal. There's nothing wrong with it. But when you're at City Hall, you're at a police department, correction facility, when you're walking around FBI building, and you're videotaping, you're going to get contacted by the police.
All right. You're going to get a little bit of an issue there.
Right. Now, mind you, what the police officer should do is they should come out and just observe. Just look. Just say, hey, what is this guy doing? I could stand over here. I could sit in my car over here, and I could just watch. They don't do that. They have to go engage. They want to start, give me your ID. I want to know who you are, why you're doing here. And we do have the Fifth Amendment.
We do, yeah.
And the Fourth Amendment that protects us from unlawful search and seizure.
Now, what if they just ask for their name and instead of their ID?
Well, that's the question. So, a police officer can ask you anything.
Mm-hmm.
They could ask you for the ID.
Okay.
They could ask you for your name. They could ask you what you're doing. They could ask you, where anything. It doesn't matter.
Right.
They can ask. You don't have to answer.
Okay. So, if they were just to say, hey, how's it going? Can I just get your name? Can we talk?
Right. And you'll hear them say, is this a consensual conversation? And once they do, and the officer says, well, yeah, they'll walk away a lot of times.
Okay.
Which is fine. And then the police officer keeps going and keeps going. Though the couple things that I don't like is when the police officers say, well, if you're not going to tell me who you are or what you're doing here, you're going to be detained until we ID you.
Okay.
That's wrong.
Yeah.
Now, on the other side of that, you have these auditors that go around and they do this, and they say the one thing that I actually hate. So when the police officer turns around to walk away, or, once they realize, okay, we're not going to get the ID off this guy, the auditor goes, you're dismissed. I hate that. I really do.
That's kind of like the fine or whatever.
Yes. And you said that, not me.
I did.
So I'm going to remember that.
Okay.
So exactly, that's what it is. It's you're pushing those buttons.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the police officers turn around or they say you're dismissed, bye pig, or something like that, now these police officers should take the high ground, but they have emotions too. You kind of hurt their feelings. So
well, and that's being mean.
You're right. So
it's
so the issue is there's no politeness.
Yeah.
You've got these auditors that I am perfectly legal to do this. I shouldn't be bothered, which, okay, that's correct. But when someone calls and they go out there, that doesn't mean you have to be rude to somebody.
Right. Or push their buttons.
Right. I mean, can you imagine what kind of service you had if you walked into McDonald's or Target, Walmart, wherever you're going, and the cashier says, how are you doing? And you say, shut up and ring me up. What do you think your reaction is going to be there?
My reaction is be like, I'll come over this counter and, lay the smack down on you. But of course they can't do that.
Yeah, you can't do that. Now that's violence, and we don't condone violence.
Yeah.
I don't like violence. The problem is individuals can be very smart people.
Yeah.
People as a whole are stupid,
Yeah.
and that's why you get mob mentality. This is why you have a lot of these protests that go really bad. That's why you get, when you start to get the more and more police officers that you get on a scene, the worse it actually gets.
Right.
Because it starts to feed into each other.
Yeah.
So I understand, and I could get behind a lot of the Black Lives Matter movement, BLM. I like a lot of their theories on paper. Mm-hmm. Their execution has been poor.
It has.
I don't think they organized it right. I don't think they had someone level-headed in there that says, okay, we're not going to do that. And if I catch anybody doing that, I'm not going to take you to the next protest.
Interesting.
I mean, why wouldn't you? You say, hey, everybody's going to come for this protest. That's great. We don't throw anything. We don't do anything. We don't harm anybody. We just march, and that's what we're going to do. But they don't.
Yeah. That would be nice if that could happen without any violence or any
destruction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So can you imagine? And then you get that one idiot.
There's always got to be at least one.
Yep, everybody has bad apples.
Yeah.
So you have that one idiot that decides to throw something at the line of cops. Mm-hmm. And what do you think is going to happen?
It's not going to be good.
Yep. Yeah. The shooting up with Kyle, the guy that shot. He was up there at the protest up in I don't even remember what it was, up in Minnesota or Wisconsin, something like that.
Oh yeah.
And the one guy chased him around, and
yeah,
there was he feared for his life and he shot.
Yeah.
So my problem with that whole thing is it didn't actually have to get to that.
It didn't have to. Yeah.
Leave the kid alone.
Right.
I mean, just leave him alone. Leave him alone. He'll leave you alone. Just do your thing. But no, there was a lot of burning and destroying property.
Which is uncalled for.
Right. So now I'm not going to say I don't believe in systemic racism.
No.
I don't. I do believe there's racist people out there.
There are, yeah.
I do believe there's some racist police officers out there.
I wouldn't doubt that either.
Now, if you're in a public service, like a police officer, judge, politician, if you're serving the people, we don't need racists in those positions.
Right. You got to keep that in check.
and now it also depends on a lot of factors when you're going through these. That's going to be something that the police department has to go through.
Yeah.
If that police department, has reason to believe that one of their officers are racist, well, then you need to address that.
Right. And more training other than, taking money away.
Yeah,
So.
defunding the police doesn't work. I think they need to be more funded with better education on what they can and can't do and how to treat people.
And they almost need, I know some cities do like a mental health counselor or someone that's trained in to diffuse situations. I'm surprised we don't have that here. I mean, unless we do, maybe. I don't know.
Well, how many interactions do you have with the police department?
None.
Right. The worst you do is what? Speeding?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, we don't know. Maybe that'd be something we'd have to reach out to the police department and say, hey, do you guys... I'm sure they would have to have something.
I would think so.
Most big police departments have that.
Yeah.
The problem you have is these little podunk towns that, one horse town with the one sheriff and two deputies.
Yeah.
This isn't Mayberry anymore.
No, it's not.
So I don't know. It's kind of confusing how they allow these people to keep doing the same thing.
Well, and the thing with that is they can probably hide it pretty well for a while. And then, like a protest or something happens, and that's maybe when they lose it and it comes out.
Well, I mean, there is ways of finding out. Yeah, I mean, talking with someone for a few minutes or even a couple hours, or I could, I could tell you, I don't have a friend that's a racist.
Yeah.
Mainly because I don't associate with them, but I don't have a friend here that's that's a racist. I could tell you, there's a couple of my friends. One of them is kind of sexist because I've heard him say some stuff.
Oh,
Now I don't talk with him anymore either.
yeah,
We no longer talk. I don't believe in the sexism either.
that's good.
So I mean, you change a carburetor.
I did.
I taught you how to do it. I'm not going to say, oh, that's man's work. That's no. If a woman can do what a man can do, I think they have every right to do it.
And they do, yeah.
So yeah, I don't care if you're male, female, black, white, purple, polka dot. I don't care. As long as you can do the job, it doesn't matter, right?
It shouldn't, no.
Yeah, that's how I feel. So I don't see too much of that around my friends because none of us put up with it.
Yeah, I haven't really seen any around my friends either, so.
Right. So, Mikey, you don't run into any of this at school, do you?
No, I don't.
So no issues there.
No issues there.
Interesting.
That's good. Now you are in what grade now?
9th grade.
9th grade. Now your school's pretty diverse, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, is it a good mix of different male, female, black, white,
Yeah.
Hispanic?
I would say so.
Okay. Well, I don't. I guess if you're always looking for a problem, you're gonna find it.
Probably.
I think that's where people see is if you keep looking. Here's a good example. When you get a new car and you drive we just got my father's Veloster.
Mm-hmm.
Before we got that car, I don't ever remember seeing a Veloster on the road.
Yeah.
Right?
And now we see them like everywhere.
Well, yeah, that's because now that that's in our head,
Yeah.
you're gonna see it. When I drive a pickup, I'm like, all of a sudden I see everybody driving a pickup. So, I mean, when you're looking for it or your mind's on there, you're going to be, I guess, a little more sensitive and you're going to find it a little more.
Probably, yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't like not very fond of people discrimination. And I don't think we're truly diverse either.
Yeah, I don't think we are as much as everybody wants us to be. I think there's a lot of stuff that we can all improve on.
Right. If we were truly diverse, we would want that Uncle Ben on the rice.
Yeah, or Aunt Jemima.
Or Aunt Jemima. Or I think and I don't know if it's 100% true. The Washington Redskins, they changed their logo because now that was, I guess, the original Indian was on their helmets.
Yeah.
It was all sponsored by the Native Americans that did that.
Why did they take it off?
Because someone that was white complained.
Oh.
And someone said, "Oh, yeah, that could be wrong." Well, it was a Native American that did the artist's rendition of it.
Oh, okay.
It got the blessing from the tribe. And they went from there. I mean, I thought it was pretty good. I mean...
So why should anybody else care?
Well, that's
what
the
I
problem.
guess I don't get.
People are being offended on behalf of other people.
Yeah.
And no one's asking, say, hey, how do you feel? Or are you, I don't think just a white person should be a spokesperson for something.
I don't think so either. I think it should be a different ranges of people, men, women,
diversity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think more people should do that. I know the Little Mermaid thing is hot right now too.
It is, yeah.
She's being portrayed as a black mermaid.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do kind of have a little bit of a problem taking established characters and changing them.
Yeah, I'm kind of starting to agree with you on that one because it's like, come on.
Right. So, but that doesn't mean that they could create new characters or new things like that. I think they did it for The Frog and the Princess.
Oh,
That's a Disney movie about a princess.
yeah.
I think it takes place in Louisiana,
Oh, okay.
and it's a black princess, which I'm all for. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I just don't think that you should take current characters and change them.
Right.
That would be like saying, well, we're going to do a movie about Obama, and we're going to have Mark Wahlberg play Obama.
Yeah, that would not work out too well.
Why? I mean, why shouldn't he play it?
Well, I mean,
So, are you saying historical characters or established characters shouldn't be? They should leave those alone and move on to other things.
right.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, there's certain characters that can change, like 007. That's like a title, so that could be played by whoever: man, woman, black, white, Hispanic, Chinese, Japanese, whatever. I think I would like to see that. I also think Batman could kind of do that too, because they could kind of retire the one guy from Batman and then move him on.
Yeah, I can see that too, but like, it's weird seeing
It's no longer going to be Bruce Wayne. So Bruce Wayne won't be Batman, but someone else could step in and be, whoever, and then his persona is Batman.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes better sense than trying to rebrand Bruce.
Well, they keep killing Bruce's parents. I feel so sorry for those two. Every time they reboot Batman, they kill him off again.
Yeah.
Hit them and poor Uncle Ben.
From Spider-Man, yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, you are a nerd.
Oh, no, I'm not.
You knew exactly what I was talking about.
Everybody knows that.
I could see that. I mean, I was really, really happy with the way they did Thor, the Love and Thunder, because Jane took on the Thor, and they explained it very, very well.
They did, yeah. They did that really good.
If they could explain it very well like that, and they could make it part of the story, not just because, we did it, if they could make it part of the story on why this is changing, I'm all good for that.
Yeah, they did a really good job with that movie.
I think it was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Is that right, Mikey?
I believe so.
Right. So they didn't have Peter Parker. Peter Parker was in it, but they had the Milo. Milo was the Spider-Man in that universe.
Yeah, Miles Morales, yeah.
Miles Morales. And it was portrayed by a black kid.
Yeah.
Which I really liked. And then, so they didn't take Peter Parker and say, okay, well, now Peter Parker's just a black kid. No, they kind of, said, oh, this is a multiverse, and it's this guy is now, and Peter Parker still exists somewhere else, but this is the one we have. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I think there was a big thing back, Will and Grace. You remember Will and Grace, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love that show.
Me too. A lot of people didn't like it because it was about gay people.
Yeah.
Well, they exist. You can't make them go away.
Right.
They're here. They're queer. Deal with it.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Some of the people I like the best are in that category.
Yeah, that was one of the best shows ever.
Right. I really liked it. But we have a lot of gay friends.
We do. Yep.
One of the bowling leagues who we bowled on was a gay friendly bowling.
Yeah.
I love those guys. They were really really fun to bowl with.
It was always a fun time. Yeah.
Man, they know how to party, don't they?
They do.
I was like, yep, I'm hanging out with these folks.
Yep.
And like, well, you're not gay. I'm like, I don't have to be gay to hang out with gay people. I mean,
Right.
I could be their straight friend. That's fine. You know,
could be Grace.
I could be Grace. Okay. I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just a kind of, I guess how people feel, and I get people may not like it. I think religion kind of jumps into that as well, and people kind of twist how the words are in the Bible.
Yeah, that can happen.
And it happens. People, are there bigots out there that don't like that? Yeah, they exist. I think if we start to ignore those people, and you know what, let them say what they're going to say. Don't answer. Don't feed into it.
Yep. Don't give them that satisfaction.
Right. Take that power away from them. If someone, Elton John came to the defense of Eminem.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you remember some of the stuff that Eminem used to say, right?
Oh, yeah.
And Elton John said, "Yeah, no, he's a good guy." And all of a sudden, no one canceled Eminem. Really talented guy.
Yeah, he was. Still
He
is, I
still is.
guess.
He's
Yeah.
still around.
Yeah.
I really liked him. I liked his earlier stuff, and you have to get through a lot of the stuff he says sometimes. Yeah, but when he was starting, it was all about that shock.
Yeah.
So he was creating that shock. So he said some of the stuff to shock people and to get his name out there. That's what happened. So Elton John came to his rescue and said, "He's a good guy."
Good old Elton.
Love Elton John.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorites. He's always been one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And he's one that I guess he can say whatever he wants.
Yeah, when you got that kind of status, you can.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, not all of them get that status. I mean, Will Smith learned that lesson real quick.
He did.
So that one was and here's the thing. He did something stupid.
He did the slap heard around the world.
And it's something that should not have been that big of a deal.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have done it. I don't condone violence. They aired their dirty laundry. That's the problem. They took everything out and they said, "Well, we're going to let everybody know what's going on."
Yeah.
I don't agree with that. If they didn't want their private life public, then they should have kept their mouth shut.
Exactly.
But then it got into the hands of a comedian. Sorry.
Game on.
Yeah, game on. And Chris Rock took it. And he also took a heck of a slap, too.
He did.
And stood there.
Yeah.
So now what should have happened is Will Smith should have apologized and said, "Hey, I owe you dinner, and you get to slap me now." So bring it.
Yeah.
I don't think Chris Rock would have done it, but that's what should have happened. It shouldn't have been that big of a deal.
Right. They should have sat down like adults and had a conversation and yeah.
Yeah, but that's the problem. That I think that's where our issue is. We can't, if someone gets offended or upset, they go so far so far against it and so far over the top that no one, take a step back, think about it. If you didn't like them, bring it up to them. Say, "Hey, what you said was inappropriate, or I felt it was inappropriate, and I think you owe me an apology."
Right.
And it could have been ended. But we didn't do it that way. It's crazy that we do it that way.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you think? Should Chris slap him back?
I think it would be funny.
It would be funny.
Good TV ratings again.
Well, yeah. I mean, you get them both on there. I mean, but once and then every comedian after that, had to say something,
Yeah.
and they get kind of crazy. That's just what happens.
And I think that's, you as a celebrity, you put yourself out there. I mean, you're going to get joked about at some point in your career. Doesn't mean you have to go around slapping people.
And you don't have that right to.
Yeah.
Whether you're offended or not, or whether you like what someone says or not, that's the same thing as if someone says something racist. I'm a firm believer of, you should probably just walk away from that person.
Right.
Because if someone says something racist or sexist or whatever, and they get an action out of you, that's what they want. Mm-hmm. Because in their mind, now mind you, let's take someone sexist for a minute. They don't believe women can do what they do, and they say something, bad about a woman. "Honey, maybe you should let a man do that." Horrible. I hate that. I really hate when people say stuff like that.
Yeah.
And if she turns around and slaps him, all she's doing is saying, "Well, yeah, see, women are emotional. See, they can't control themselves." You're basically reaffirming in their mind that they're right when they're really not right at all.
Yeah.
So, if someone says something racist and you go beat them up for it, what message is that sending really to the racist? I mean, they're like, "Yep, see, he's that's the way they act."
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't agree with that. I think you should walk away and say, "You know what? I don't want anything to do with a racist like you. Bye."
You're not worth my time.
Yep. That was one of my favorite things. Even working security, when I kick someone out of the store because they were doing something stupid, throwing stuff or whatever. If they were being removed from the store, I remember being called every name in the book, and the more I said thank you, have a good day, keep walking, and I didn't cuss them out. I didn't do anything like that. The more and more I remained calm, the more and more they got upset.
Yeah.
And to me, that was actually my fun time.
Yeah.
So, rent a pig. I've heard it all. Thank you. I'll make some bacon later. Have a good day. And I mean, I used to say that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And just say, I know. I'll do better next time. Bye. Get a real job. I'm still looking. Until then, I'm working here. Bye. And I would say stuff like that. And I remember this one guy got to his car. He was so mad that he started the car, forgot to close his car door all the way, and he goes to peel out of the parking lot and fell out of the driver's side. It was hilarious. And of course, here I am going, "Are you okay, sir? Do you need any help?" And by that time, he didn't want any help from me, but he got back in his car and took off. I'm sure he was embarrassed.
Oh, I bet.
But that to me, that was the best thing to do.
Yeah.
Just, don't respond. Don't feed into it. And that's what I'm hoping these police officers start doing with these auditors. I really hope that they, instead of feeding into it, just ignore them.
Exactly.
If they're not doing anything wrong, ignore them. What they're doing is they're looking for hits on their YouTube or whatever they're doing. Mm-hmm. And the more and more the police officers act badly, the more and more those hits are going to hit.
Yeah, more people are going to try to do it to get a rise out of people.
Right. I mean, me and Chris have talked about doing it.
You have, yeah. I've squashed that though.
Well, I mean, we still might, but I'm also not going to be the one out there saying you're dismissed either. You know what I mean? I'm not going to do that to someone.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, would you do it?
Probably not.
Why not?
I don't know. I'm just not that type of person.
Okay.
So.
Well, I generally don't like doing that kind of stuff either, but I think it'd be kind of fun.
I think it kind of would be fun. A little bit of fun, yeah. That's just not me.
No, I could understand. So, well, this wasn't too hot. I think we're on the same kind of page on this kind of stuff, aren't we?
Yeah, we're pretty much on the same page on most stuff, yeah.
I just think I just think the sides are so extreme that we need to get true diversity and have a true meeting of the minds.
Yeah. It would be nice to have our politicians and people like that just come together instead of trying to work against each other. So
yeah, that's the biggest problem. So
yeah,
I think we're in agreement there. Then I mean, well, people need to grow up.
Yep.
People need to stop letting everything bother them.
Yeah.
And people need to start coming together and start having a kind of a meeting in the minds. We need to get these extreme sides, to rein them in and saying, hey, this isn't healthy and this isn't good for anybody.
Yep.
All right. So what's our next subject going to be?
I think our next subject's probably going to be like customer service and those kind of issues when you've calling people and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, some of our pet peeves that we have,
Yeah.
do's and don'ts, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
It is.
I think tipping is one of the other things that we're coming up, and
yeah, that'll be a next show or one of our next shows too. Yeah.
And then I think your nephew is in town.
He is. Yep.
So yeah, let's see if he wants to come in on and talk and get his view from. I mean, he's 20s.
Yeah, mid 20s.
Mid 20s. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we could get his opinion on a couple talks.
Yeah. I think he might be up for that.
All right. Well, let's see what we can do.
All right, sounds good.
All right. So I think we're done. Anything else you got to say, Mikey? You good?
I'm good.
You just sat here and listened to us talk, huh?
Yeah.
Mikey didn't have much to say on this subject.
Nah.
All right.
It was too touchy for me.
Too touchy. You don't like to touch. You don't like the hot issues. Then
No.
you'd like to avoid them.
Yeah, I don't want to press any buttons.
Well, sometimes you have to press buttons.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes you do. Sometimes you have to get your voice out there. You have to, I always recommend standing your ground. If you have something to say, say it. It's your right. If the other person says, hey, I don't want to listen to you, you can keep talking, but they don't have to. They can walk away and they don't have to listen. Sometimes you're going to be wasting your breath. So sometimes at that point you say, you know what, that's not worth my time or effort for you.
That is true.
You just have to pick and choose your battles.
Exactly.
All right, that was our show. I hope everybody enjoyed. We'll be hitting some of these topics again, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
We'll circle back around.
I'm sure. All right. Thank you all for listening. You guys have a wonderful day.
Alrighty. Bye, everybody.